This time I've got quite an unusual story to tell. If you're a wildlife photographer or a photographer in general, you're familiar with that unwritten rule or phenomenon, which is stating that the moment you put your camera in the bag, something amazing and unique happens. Maybe you've been waiting for hours or even days for this moment to happen, or it's just something so special and rare that you just have to capture it on camera, otherwise no one would believe you. There are two outcomes for this unfortunate situation. Either you run to grab your camera and try to get the picture in time while panicking, or you just accept the fate, look at the scene as it happens in front of your eyes, knowing that your camera is in the car, without a battery and with a lens cap on. In both cases, you will probably go home without a picture and in a grumpy mood. By now, you probably already know where this is going. This exact situation happened to me a few days ago. I was driving home from one of my wildlife photography walks. I was tired from walking and carrying all the heavy equipment, and my camera and tripod were neatly stored in the trunk of my car. Since it was late in the morning, I was not expecting to see or photograph anything else. I was driving on the road that crosses our local marshes when I spotted something strange. I stopped the car on the side of the road and grabbed my binoculars. In the distance, there was a flock of hooded crows surrounding a white bird that I couldn't identify just yet. At first glance, I suspected it could be an owl, because it's pretty common for crows to gather around owls and bully them. The birds seemed so occupied with themselves that they didn't notice me quietly stepping out of the car and hunching down behind it, taking out my equipment. I quickly took my camera out of the backpack and set it on the tripod. I was 100% sure that I will miss the moment, but I tried anyway. When I finally got my gear ready, I looked through the viewfinder to get a better view at the white bird. I could tell it wasn't an owl just by the way it was flying. The more I looked, the more it seemed like a crow, just not the right color. It was also flying very similarly to the other crows. I noticed that the other birds were sort of attacking it and trying to get it away from their flock. I managed to capture a few seconds of usable video footage and some photos. Like I said, the birds were very far, but at least I got something to show to you guys when I tell the story. When I got home, I offloaded the photos and recordings on my computer and inspected them more closely. From what I could tell, the white bird was looking exactly like the other crows, but white with some grey and black parts on its head. I started searching the internet and I came across this article explaining that some birds can be born albino, which means they don't produce any melanin in their cells. Because albinism affects all the melanin production in the animal's cells, this means that the partial albinism cannot exist. And the bird I photographed had some black or grey feathers on its head. This phenomenon is known as leucism, the partial loss of all types of pigmentation, which causes white coloration, patches or spots. What is more interesting is that in the normal crow reproduction, true albinism occurs about once every 30,000 birds, and leucism happens to approximately 1% of the crow population. So this bird isn't the rarest animal you can find, but it's still a pretty cool subject that I haven't seen or photographed before. And because of the camera in the bag phenomenon, it's even more rewarding that I actually managed to get some footage. So thank you very much for watching. It was a pleasure to share this story with you. See you next time.